Hello everybody and welcome to another tutorial. My name is Scott Simpson, and just briefly what I'm going to show you is how to create a little website in Dreamweaver. That'll be across 4, 5 or 6 tutorials, maybe more. What we're going to mainly do is cover the basics of creating a site that we can manage, as far as setting folder locations and putting in images and various other things that we're going to do just to first set up our site so we know where we're going to find what we need when we need to use it, and have a look at some of the basic tools that Dreamweaver gives us when we first start using it, and we'll get into more complex things as we go on. But like I said, this is going to be a fairly short tutorial, a couple of minutes, just to show you the basic layouts, etc. Now what we want to do is actually create a new site, like we were saying. When you first load Dreamweaver, you get these various options here. You'll find you can open up recent documents if you've opened previous ones. If this is your first time, there'll be nothing really in that list there. We can create new pages with HTML, Cold Fusion, PHP and various other scripts and CSS styling, etc. And you can also take a look at some of Dreamweaver, or Adobe's should I say, own tutorials and featured videos to give you an idea of what you can use and what's new in Dreamweaver. This version of Dreamweaver I'm using is CS5, which is the most recent one I believe, and I really like it, to be honest. It's very nice, easy to use piece of software. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is scroll up the top and click on this little hierarchical symbol there and click on New Site, because we're going to create a new site. And the first thing we need to do is enter a site name, and I'm going to call this My First Website. And then what we need to do is assign a folder location. I've already got XAMPP installed, which is a web server environment using Apache and MySQL and PHPMyAdmin and PHP interpreters. If you haven't got that installed, that doesn't matter. You can simply save this to a folder location on your desktop or in My Documents, anywhere you choose. I've also done a tutorial actually on downloading XAMPP and installing it. I'm currently using Windows 7, but you can install XAMPP on various versions of Windows or Macs, or even Linux systems. Whatever operating system you've got, you can download it. It's completely free. But for now, like I say, you need to choose a location where you're going to save all your folders to. So I'm going to quickly create a new folder inside my htdocs environment inside XAMPP. So we can click on New Folder. Like I say, you can do this in My Documents. Just do the same, click a new folder and call it whatever you like. I'm going to call it My First Website. I'm going to open it and I'm going to select it. So I've got my site name and I've got the location where all my files are going to be saved to. Now again, because this is fairly simple and basic, the next thing we need to do is actually go to Advanced Settings and give ourselves a default images folder. And in doing that, will help us actually save all of our images to one location, and we can keep things nice and tidy and all the images together, so we haven't got them floating around all over the place. So again, I'll go and find the location inside the folder that I've just created. Mine was My First Website. You can navigate to yours and go inside it and create a new folder again, and I'm going to call it Images, because that's going to be my images folder. I'm going to leave the links relative to the document, and I'm not going to assign a web URL at this point because we don't need to do that. All we're going to do, like I say, is learn how to create a new environment so we can start building our pages and using various HTML and CSS tools once we get going. So I'm going to save that, and if you look down in your right hand corner under the Files tab, you'll see the local files and the location where our website is actually going to be stored with all the files and folders inside. And you can see also there the images folder that we created is inside what is My First Website folder. It's all together there. Now the next thing we're going to do is create a new page, and we're just going to click on HTML for that, or the other thing we can do is click File, New, and just create a blank HTML page. We're not going to actually assign any specific layout at this point. You can play with these at a later date, and we may even do a few tutorials on them just so we can see what they're all like. But for the time being, just click None, HTML None, and leave the doc type as XHTML transitional. What that is actually it's a web standard of how your pages are going to be rendered and read by browsers, and to make sure that we deal with the latest standards of how you should create web pages and your code, it'll all conform to that XHTML 1.0 transitional specification. And we'll just click create. Now straight away we've got two areas here on the main page. We have a code view and we have a design view, and nothing's actually there in the design view yet because obviously we haven't put anything into it. Now what you'll find is in the design view everything goes between these two tags of body. You have the opening body tag and the closing body tag. Everything you'd put in that's designed on this page will go in here in the body tag, okay, for standard HTML. Now at this point we can actually choose to simply use a design view where we don't have to see any code whatsoever, and we don't have to use any of it because we're going to try and use all the tools that Dreamweaver provides to help build our pages. Or we can use code view only, so we can actually, if you already know HTML, you can write your code simply by hand without using any of the design tools whatsoever. Me personally, I like to use split view, so when I do something in design view I can see it change in the code view. For example, if I click here and type hello to all, we can see that it's actually created that in the code view on this side here. That piece of text has been inserted inside the two body open and closing tags. That's where everything's going to go. Now what I want to do is actually I'm going to save this page first of all with nothing in it, and just save it inside the location that we created before. So I'm going to click File, Save As, and it should come up inside the directory you created of my first website. That's what I called mine. And what I'm actually going to call this is index, because that is going to be my first index page, and index is used by servers and also is default or home depending on what server you're running, as will be the very first page that will ever show when a website's requested to load on a browser. So I'm just going to click save, and you'll notice down here in the local folders area, files, that we now have the index.html file there. It's completely blank, we haven't put anything into it yet. We have that file saved. So that's our first tutorial on Dreamweaver and how to create a local files area where we can save everything in the right place and actually save our very first home page. Even though we have no content written in it, that's fine. At least we know we have that there and saved it in the right place. And we've also discussed and looked at where you put your code and where it will actually be saved to, or applied to should I say, in a HTML layout or code layout. All goes inside the body tag. That's my first little tutorial on Dreamweaver, like I say, and in the next tutorial we'll look at actually adding images or banners as well into a HTML page. Okay, thank you for watching.